Okay, TV Nation, it's time to talk about Ari Shaffir. And while you might think you know this dirty comic through his lewd acts, you may be surprised to learn you've been duped. The story of how Ari Shaffir came to be is a twisted tale that he's fought hard to suppress, and now I'm risking everything to expose it. So everyone knows how Ari was raised in a religious home and that he was in training to become a rabbi himself, before leaving the practice entirely to become a stand-up comic. And his upbringing was reportedly so strict he wasn't even allowed to rollerblade. What are the odds of a young rabbi in training leaving Judaism and disgracing his family to become a doorman at the Comedy Store? While some of this past might be true, I found some crucial information that's been intentionally left out. You see, while studying in Jerusalem, Ari got himself into some serious trouble. Apparently doing some extracurricular exploring in some remote caves, Ari discovered something he wasn't supposed to. While you may have heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the oldest known copies of the Hebrew Bible unearthed in the Judean desert in 1947, you've never heard of the Dead Sea Addendum, which is an ancient text clarifying that the Bible itself was just an elaborate prank being played on someone named David in 100 BCE, thereby making every religion stemming from ancient Judaism provably false. Well, when Ari discovered these texts, he had no idea it would disrupt the foundations of civilization as we know it. And after bringing his findings to his rabbi, Ari found himself locked up in a detention center. He had no idea the type of trouble he was in. And this is how Ari Shaffir became entangled with Magellan. You see, the evil Magellan Corporation makes $200 million every quarter on religious merchandise alone, so they have a huge stake in keeping all religions going. So the Magellan Company bought the Dead Sea Addendums in order to keep them under lock and key. But what about Ari? Well, usually the Magellan Company would just kill this type of witness without batting an eye. But due to Ari's uncle being none other than the Paul Shaffir, band leader for David Letterman, Magellan cut a deal with Ari to spare his life. But it included Ari having to publicly paint himself as an unreliable source, in case he ever turned on Magellan. No one would ever believe this chronic liar and all-around rule-bending prankster, but it's all an act to save his life. The wilder Ari acts, the safer he is from Magellan's touch of death. But while Ari has kept his deal with Magellan to never speak of the Dead Sea Addendum, he hasn't kept quiet about his overall disbelief in all religions. And while it may not be big enough news to reach major headlines, Ari has been banned from ever attending another Switchfoot concert again. Apparently for years, Ari would attend Switchfoot shows, only to completely ruin the event by throwing feces at the lead singer. And one time, some of this disgusting projectile even landed in John Foreman's mouth, prompting the band to take legal action. So behind the scenes, Ari has been sabotaging Christian bands however he can, even framing the poor lead singer of As I Lay Dying for trying to kill his own wife. And of course, destroying the Newsboys by scaring their lead singer into moving back to Australia, only to be replaced by a Magellan plant. Tate. Eventually, Ari became like the Christian music mafia, either destroying your group or scaring you out of the religion entirely. And that's exactly what he did to acts like Paramore, who were at one point a fully Christian band playing worship songs mixed in with their set. Well, Hayley Williams wised up enough to completely drop the Christian angle, but others weren't so smart. And that's why all your favorite groups like Family Force 5, PAX 217, and Earthsuit all but dissolved from the radar. And everyone knows how Ari lost his mind and has never been the same since his breakup with Whitney Cummings. This sad tale of how Bobby Lee beat up Ari and stole his girl has been covered by many, but it seems to be a real turning point in Ari's mental stability. See, after this horrific breakup, Ari allegedly stayed indoors for a full year and only watched the Disney teen classic inline skating movie Brink, and he reportedly had this movie on loop 24 hours a day, and even credited the film with helping him rebuild and get back on his feet. Well, I did some digging and found something insane. Apparently, the bad guy from Brink, Sam Horrigan, went missing around the same time Ari came out of hiding. After digging even further, I found that Ari had flown to Sam's hometown of Nashville the same week the public last saw Sam. Now, this alone isn't conclusive evidence, but after digging for a third time, I found that the actor Sam Horrigan is now a born-again Christian who frequently speaks about it online. It seems Ari wasn't willing to let the movie Brink be tainted by what he saw as nonsense. And there's plenty more strange things about this guy, like how he became friends with Joe Rogan by pretending to be blind for the first 3 years of their friendship, or his secret 32-year-old son Franklin, but we'll have to save that for another time. Until then, Ari Shaffir, you're a total bitch. Okay everyone, if you're keeping up, we just mowed down these chemically ossified zombies to escape Egypt. But these brain-dead Kill Tony fans were in hot pursuit. Me and the Congolese army crossed the Red Sea and landed in Saudi Arabia, only to find the population of Egypt crossing along with us. Thankfully, as soon as these citizens crossed the Red Sea, the effects of Brian Redban's chemicals wore off. I quickly explained to the population who Kill Tony was, and they immediately joined the TB army. Now we're marching to Austin for a full-on takeover. Tony Hinchcliffe, say goodbye to the world you knew.